Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, probably the most outspoken conservative in the state. Enos has the rundown.
He circulated petitions to ban double dippers and to axe the taxes. Now he's publishing a magazine. George Harris, publisher of Liberty Watch, will be here today to talk about the political landscape of the state. Sam?
And on the Power Pundit panel today, John Griffin, Matt Sharp, and Scott Craigie. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Corporations moving to the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center require reliable power, fiber optic communication, and clean water sources. And yet, there's another amenity we're very proud of here at TRI, rail service. So far, we've built over 2 miles of railroad track, and another 3.6 is under construction. When companies need to transport freight, we're going to help them move it quickly and efficiently. Welcome to the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we welcome to the program the publisher of Liberty Watch magazine, George Harris. Welcome to the program, George.
Thanks for having me, Sam. Appreciate coming back. It's always nice to see you guys.
George, really quick, let's talk about Liberty Watch and the magazine and what you're doing with it.
Well, Liberty Watch is a business conservative magazine. It's the only thing of its type in the state. We did it online, as you know, for 4 years. It grew and grew and grew, where we had over 39,000 emails statewide. So, you know, we thought the next paradigm would be to take it into a print. We said, hey, look, we'd love to get, within by June, we thought if we could get 500 subscribers. We've exceeded every one of our wildest fantasies. We believe by the first of the year we'll have 5,000 subscribers. And for anybody that wants to subscribe, just go to my email address, which is gopgeorge@earthlink.net. And it's a great magazine. We've got John Stossel.
Okay, all right. Enough with the commercial. Let's move on. Okay, Harriet Myers.
Yes.
Okay, what do you think?
I think that time will tell. I mean, she's meeting with, I'm a little frustrated because I love John Ensign, but she's meeting with Ensign today, and Ensign's already telling people that he's not voting for her. So if you're not going to vote for her, why are you going to meet with her?
Well, on this program, he didn't say he's not going to vote for her. He said he wants to talk to her.
Well, they said on the news this morning that he said, listen, I think that I think that there's a lot of folks that have been nominated to the Supreme Court that have never been a judge, and I think let's wait and see. Let's hold our powder and. Why do we constantly kill these people before we even hear what comes out of their mouth? It's because it's the partisan group. So give it a few times. Let's just watch and see how she does in the hearings.
You become a moderate on that.
I'm not a moderate at all. I think that even the most liberal person, because I like it, because if you let the liberals talk, they'll wrap their rope around themselves and choke them with it. So,
okay, George, let's talk about your column in Liberty Watch, where you talk about a good reason for Tabor, and you talk about the escalating wages for government workers as compared with private industry.
Well, it's not the escalating wages. It's we've created a privileged class among government employees, and it's not a good thing. It's not healthy long term for the state. It's not healthy for the economy. There are people in government that are making 37% more than their private counterparts. It's not healthy because taxpayers are the folks who pay these government workers salaries.
So what you're saying is a secretary in the private sector is going to make 30% less than a secretary.
They're making 37% less than a secretary in government. And the problem is there's, we've only got a state a little less than 3 million people. How long is that going to be able to happen? It just, it doesn't. And what happens is these folks get everything they want because the SEIU, which is the government employees union, sits up there at the legislature with their lobbyists, with all the government lobbyists. I mean, Clark County has some ridiculous, almost 100 lobbyists that go up there to lobby to increase their piece of pie for government workers and for their budgets. I mean, Kathy McLean's a good example. Look at Kathy McLean. She is a government worker who works for Clark County, and she's also a state legislature. As you all know, I don't think that if you're working for the government, you should be serving as a legislature because there's so many conflicts. If you look at every bill Clark County had last year, if you look at every bill Clark County had since the inception of when that woman was elected, she's never voted against the county.
Well, did you take some heart from the fact that the Fiscal Affairs Committee voted down the police raises?
Well, I think that there was a problem, a big problem down south. They raised the sales tax, saying, "Look, we're going to hire new cops," and they turn around and say, "We're going to give a 25% raise." I think cops should be paid a lot of money. It's not about that. It's about how much more can taxpayers afford to pay government workers who we have created a privileged class for while taxpayers are footing the bill?
Well, how do you reverse it?
How do you reverse it? You go back and you do what everybody else does. You look at the numbers and you say, look, these folks don't need to. There are jobs that are in the state government that are getting outrageous amounts of money, and they don't even mirror their counterpart jobs. And you have to go back and you have to look at the budget, and you have to go back and look how we spend money. And listen, if this doesn't happen, I guess I get a lot of credibility here. I came here years ago and said, we don't need to be raising taxes $833 million. And, everybody, oh, well, you're a nice guy, but, they made fun of me, laughing, and then it comes out that I'm right. And I'm not any smarter than anybody else. It's just if you look at the math, it's all math. That's all it is. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. If you spend too much and you don't have enough coming in, it's a train wreck. If you continue to give outlandish raises and you only have 2.5 million people to fund these raises, it's a train wreck.
But, well, it'll be interesting to see how things develop, but I don't see any big reversal coming unless Tabor passes, or TASC as it's now called.
I think TASC or Tabor, I think that's what everybody needs to look at. Look, the one thing that's happening, and it doesn't happen all over the state, but down in Clark County, those governments down in Clark County have gargantuan in-fund balances. North Las Vegas has $320 million in-fund balance. The city of Henderson has $500 million cash on hand. Clark County has so much money that on their website they list a form of money as proprietary income. What is proprietary income for a government? They've got billions of dollars. The school district was telling everybody, oh, we've got to do better for the kids. That's how they always sell it. We've got to do better for the kids. Take your rebate money and give it to the school district, because school districts need money. Then down in Clark County, they find out a couple of days ago they got $1.2 billion in cash on hand, surplus. Who's telling the truth here?
Well, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll see if we can find out. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with George Harris after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management. And that's our promise to Nevada.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Happy hour at the Peppermill.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're here with the very quiet George Harris from Liberty Watch magazine.
Okay, George, your magazine, a columnist in your magazine, Doug French, has criticized gubernatorial candidate Jim Gibbons for supporting collective bargaining.
And may we point out that you are running Bob Beer's campaign for governor?
I'm not running Bob Beer's campaign for governor. There's no truth to that. I'm Bob Beer's friend. I support Bob Beers. Bob Beers is the kind of guy we need to have.
Who's running his campaign?
Todd Schnick.
Really? I'm sorry.
A professional.
I take that back. I thought you were running his campaign.
No.
But you were supporting Bob Beers.
I support
vociferously.
I support the philosophy of making sure that Nevada families get as much money left in their pocket and not plucked out from the government. That's what I support.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's talk about collective bargaining and Gibbons' position on it. I know that your magazine's been critical on it.
Not critical. Look, Mr. Gibbons went in front of the corrections officers and talked about how he would support not privatizing the prison system. We do a horrible job with the prison system here in the state, and while other states are privatizing their prison systems, I think it's just something that we should discuss. It saves taxpayers tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Sure.
It didn't work in the state. We have to take it back.
Okay. It didn't work with one company. It doesn't mean you can't. Every time you can look at putting something in private industry's hands, you're better off. And my example is the Regional Justice Center in Clark County that they've spent a gazillion dollars on.
That was a huge cost overrun.
And in that time, they built the largest furniture place down there, a mall. All these things were built around this by private enterprise. Put private enterprise in charge, you're going to get a better product.
Well, I have to say, in disaster relief, it seems that private enterprise certainly did a better job than the government.
Absolutely.
Private enterprise always does a better job because they have to make a profit or a loss. And the government doesn't care if they lose money because it's not their money, it's your money, the taxpayer. Wake up, Sammy, that's what it's about. They don't care how much of your money they spend.
I am completely awake. I am not disagreeing with you on that.
So to finish this thing, so in this conversation with the corrections officers, there was discussion of collective bargaining. And on the first web page, it said, which I have a copy of, how they know they can that Congressman Gibbons is supporting collective bargaining because he has had a history of supporting collective bargaining in the past. Collective bargaining will cost taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. If these government employee unions are allowed to bring us into a collective bargaining state, it will take our state from being a right-to-work state for no longer being a right-to-work state. It's just
You're basically going to have the same thing on it. Will you just explain what collective bargaining is really quick? Because I think when you say that, a lot of people...
It's a collective bargaining is where a bargaining unit of employees can have their union represent them in their negotiations to say, we get this big piece of pie because you guys have got a surplus, so give it to us in a raise. Even though we'll go out and sell it for you that it's for the kids. But it's going to be for our pockets. And then we're going to have this 37% massive gap right now between the private and government industry is now going to grow to 40 or 50%. And By 2015, taxpayers in Nevada, they're just going to be working all the way up until July or August just to pay their government employees.
Let me ask you about the new chairman of the state Republican Party. Arlene Forsythe stepped down and Paul Adams took over.
Which was a good thing. Ms. Forsythe stepping down was a good thing. She couldn't have got reelected. She didn't run the party that well. The party needs to register folks to vote. This new man, Paul Adams, I am hoping that he becomes a great party chairman. You know, this party has to get back to the basics. We need to be registering people to vote. We need to be going back to basic Republican principles, which is to keep the government out of your private life.
And it would be nice to see us on a national level too, huh?
Nice to see it everywhere. It would be lovely to extract the government from everybody's daily life so people can run their lives the way they want to run it, that they can have enough money in their pockets to spend the money any way they want.
Okay, well, let's kind of get back to taxes for a minute.
Okay.
Jim Gibson has said that when he's elected governor, he wants to hold the line on taxes, make sure that it's not affecting, you know, working families.
Jim Gibson said that?
Jim Gibson.
The mayor of Henderson?
Well, who's a better Republican in that case, Jim Gibson or Kenny Gwynn?
I can't answer a question like that. That doesn't make sense. But I can tell you that if you go look at the city of Henderson's budget, they've had a lot of growth under Mr. Gibson. Spend, 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 spend. These guys spend money like drunken sailors on a Friday night at a strip joint. I mean, it's insane the way they spend money. And the problem is, look, it's math. You can sit and say, well, you know, George is verbose about how he says it. It doesn't matter. It's all math. If you go look at it, the numbers support what I'm telling you. They don't ever take into consideration the taxpayer. They just spend. They're building buildings, and not buildings, not like corporate buildings that have to be squares or the shareholders would hang you from a tree. They're building these beautiful sandstone, radius cut stone buildings with this and that. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're building temples to themselves.
It needs to end.
It needs to end.
And
yes,
that's where we have to end this. If you want to read Liberty Watch magazine, you can go to NevadaNewsmakers.com. There are advertisements on there for that.
Just click on that advertisement or go to www.liberty-watch.com.
George Harris, always a pleasure. Wish we could have gotten you worked up.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Bye-bye.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. Just 10 minutes east of Sparks. We're proud that Walmart and other Fortune 500 companies have chosen Tahoe Reno Industrial Center to relocate their businesses. We have sites from under 5 acres to well over 500 acres, and with all of the amenities that every successful corporation requires. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, and we're building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe voting campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
The Resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice. The Resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're joined on the Power Pundit panel today by Matt Sharp, John Griffin, and we also have Scott Craigie here. Pleasure to have all of you, gentlemen.
We just heard George Harris on the interview segment talk about Gibbons and collective bargaining. We've seen Dina Titus go after Jim Gibson. What primary do you think is going to be bloodier, Gibson Titus or Gibbons Beers? And we'll throw Lorraine in there as well.
Actually, I think they're all going to be very aggressive, and primaries should be aggressive because the party voters need to be able to establish that they've got the strong person that is going to represent their side of the debate. Unfortunately, the primaries have made it more and more difficult in the general election to find a moderate maybe to vote for. But when a person's going to be in that job for 4 years, you want to have somebody in there that's going to do what your side of the aisle wants and needs. And so they're going to be rough and tumble, and that's how elections are going to be from now on.
It's nice to actually have a primary for a change. We've gone through, and nobody really knows the governor until they first step foot in office. I mean, we've had some pretty bland gubernatorial campaigns for quite a while.
Yes, indeed.
No, I think that you see both Dina Titus and Bob Beers attempting to define their opponent as being for nothing, in terms of the core beliefs of either a Democrat or a Republican. And I think it's an effective way to run a primary.
Do you think that this is going to be a better process to elect a governor as opposed to the anointment process, which Kenny Gwynn came to office?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose every pundit thinks that that's good. The fact of the matter is, both contributors and voters choose governors, choose U.S. senators, choose congressmen, and that's how the system works. Whether you like it or not, that's a fact of life.
But a good primary makes for very good television.
Which is the ultimate standard.
Well, at least we get to discuss a little public policy here. What do you guys think on this whole pharmacy issue here about whether pharmacies can deny a prescription because it violates their moral or religious beliefs?
Well, my thought on that is anytime a person is a professional, whether they're teaching school or they are a real estate agent or a pharmacist or a physician or a lawyer, when you accept the job to provide an essential service to somebody, anybody, and that person shows up and you're the only person that they can go to for that service, you've got to find a way that in the end you deliver the service. Now, that's not to say that the pharmacists are all wrong because they're not filling some of these prescriptions that they have they feel a moral obligation not to fill. But they've got to find an alternative. If they can't or won't fill a prescription that is legally given to a person, then they've got to have a way to handle it. That customer in this economy has got to get service.
Matt?
Well, I think that's the key, is access to the service, but you also have a right to contract. I mean, and if you don't want to serve a particular customer, you have that right to decline it. I have the right as an attorney to decline representing a client. So you have to balance those interests between the right to contract and the access to service.
The scary part is the way insurance is going, your medical provider may only allow you to go to these 2 or 3 pharmacists, and if those pharmacists don't say no, well then you're faced with exorbitant costs to pay for some things that your insurance doesn't cover.
Well, but I think the insurance company's got to take care of that.
Isn't that something the market can work out? If you have one pharmacist who's not giving somebody birth control or the morning after pill or even drugs that would facilitate somebody dying at their own volition, don't you think that people will start to go to other places to get that service? Don't you think the market can work this out?
Well, I would also hope that if an insurance company is sending their insureds to a pharmacy that won't service the insured, the insurance company does something about that. I mean, that's, again, the contractual market forces, I would hope.
And frankly, that's what we do in the legislature. I mean, as lobbyists representing various groups, legislators and others, when the market won't deliver, then that's when we go to make laws. Hopefully we don't have to do that, but where it happens, that's what happens there. That's why the legislative process is so important.
Dick Cheney came to Las Vegas and raised an estimated $200,000 yesterday at a midday reception for John Porter. Is this the kind of signal that says to the Democrats, you really don't have a chance in this, or the Democrats feel that maybe they do?
Well, I don't know if the Democrats have a chance against John Porter or not. I can't imagine. I know that they've got a candidate who, at least on paper, looks good. I've not met him. I've not heard him speak. But in his district, which of course is, I can't imagine him not winning and not being successful.
Well, if the indictments come by Friday and Cheney's on the list, does that money go back?
Somehow, I don't think so.
Okay, really quick. The voters in Iraq approved a constitution today. President Bush here at home has kind of been battered as battered as you can get in a presidency, in a second-term presidency. Do you think when we look towards the future, say 20, 30 years down the future, at Iraq, people will see that as something good the president did, or just another part of, what do I want to say, just another bad mark on his record?
Actually, it's one event in a series. It depends so much on what happens after this piece. It was a success. It was a step forward. Whether or not it's enough to deliver, positive into that system, I can't say.
Yeah, I think you'll have to wait to see at this point. I mean, there's still a lot of open questions in Iraq as to what we're going to do in the future to control the country.
And trying to predict the future in the Middle East is absolute suicide.
Absolutely. And that's where we'll leave it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
Yeah. I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Peppermill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Peppermill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Peppermill. Where are you dining?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And as always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers anytime online at nevadanewsmakers.com.
Tomorrow we have former Reno Mayor Jeff Griffin.
We'll see you then.